Virgo, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late February 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Virgo collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team. Talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Virgos in late February? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Virgo in late February. What's the vibe? Let's get this card out nice and quick. There we go. Beautiful. This is definitely more of a big picture type of energy. And I always say that with this card, even though we're doing like a weekly reading, this to me feels like a long time. So whether it's something you've been dealing with or it's just looking at the life's journey in and of itself. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So, beautiful piece of imagery. I just love how it looks. And we see this beautiful sky in the back with clouds. We have this individual with these doves, these white birds that are guiding this person along with ropes. Now, of course, this to me does feel very spiritual, guardian angel like. So, guides, spirit team, ancestors. To me, it feels like someone is being led, or they're being watched over, they're being directed by spirit, which I think is usually a good thing. So, for those of you, especially those of you going through a bit of a difficult time, this is more reassurance from spirit, like, we're with you. It's part of the plan. It's part of the big picture, because that's what I think of with this card. I'm not just thinking about today, yesterday, next week, next month. I'm talking about the big journey. We're talking karmic energy here, legacy type of energy as well, which is usually a pretty good thing. Now, this card is also about some sort of journey or path that you might be on right now. For a lot of you, hopefully you are on the right one. Maybe some of you are questioning your path, like, what's it all for? What am I working towards? I know those are big picture types of energies, but I just love the guidance. I love the protection that I feel with this. And maybe some of you are just looking at life in that big macrocosmic type of way where you're just looking at the big ball of wax. But we're just going to let him chill right there. Let's get into tarot. Definitely a karmic type of energy. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up here. What do we got for our lovely Virgos? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was very intriguing. The reading was titled A Surprising Return, and to me it felt like a door being open for something to pop back up. Now, whether that was a situation that you thought you already dealt with it, or it was just something, whether a thought process, something returning in a pretty big way. Could even be a person, depending on your situation. So just know that energy could bleed over for a couple weeks. There could be a whole variety of things bubbling back up to the surface. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else's, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for Virgo, late February. What is happening for my beautiful friends? Let's get these cards out. What do we got for Virgo? Deck is being very specific for you. A lot of you know I like to read jumpers. Usually when I'm reading for Virgo, the cards are like flying, flying. We do got our first one out. Okay, Lady Justice, position number 1. So the big picture karmic energy here. This could also represent legalities, paperwork, all that kind of stuff. It could be a lot of things. I will say this, Lady Justice is one of those cards that has like a ton of different potential meanings. So we'll go through it. Let's get a couple more. What do we got here for Virgo? Thank you. Okay. One of your power cards showing up here. We got our good pal, Mr. King of Pentacles. Remember, it's not gender specific. We like the King of Pentacles. That's usually a pretty solid, stable type of card. Let's get one more. There's like a lot of authority in the energy I'm picking up this week, especially from these two. But on the back end, we do have the 9 of Wands. That is a very cautious type of energy. And again, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. The energy itself is just very cautious and aware. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, I always like to look at the elements because it talks to me about different areas of life that could be highlighted or how energy is flowing and moving. And you have a pretty nice mixture this week. We have air, earth, and fire. And these are all totally different in how they present themselves. And I like when it's balanced. If it's too much of one element, it can get a little lopsided and funky. But right here in the front with the air, that's the fastest moving of all the elements. Air does tie in more with the thought process, the pragmatic mind, the conscious mind. It's sharp, it's very intelligent, it deals with information, learning, processing things with the mind. So I love the intelligence behind the air element. Could also just be communication. But the downside to air is sometimes it could be a little flighty. Sometimes it could be a little cold. Sometimes it could be a little detached. So it's just something to watch out for. In the middle, we have your power zone, right? We have your comfort zone, your power element, earth. And I think of security, stability, feelings of that. I like the predictability of the earth energy. It could represent earthly things. So think of money, think of bills, think of investments, think of how you earn money, like anything revolving around business. It could be the home, it could be the family as well. So all the earthly things are tied to the earth element. Surprise, surprise, right? But the downside to earth is sometimes it could feel like it has stalled out. Sometimes it could feel like it's not making much progress. So there can be a frustration with this energy, but normally it's good for Virgo. Like you can exist here. On the back end, we do have fire, which is the action suit. So whether it's the actions you take, actions other people take, actions that you want to take, think of vitality, think of energy levels. So whether you're feeling up and feeling rejuvenated, maybe you're feeling a little low, feeling a little down. It could be any of those. I think of passion, drive, and desire. So I love the fire suit. I'm a little biased to have some fire placements myself. But the real downside when it comes to the fire element, it could be unpredictable. And I've already seen that in other earth signs this week where there's like this little energy that could take a little left. So there's a little volatility to it, but this could stabilize it. So we have very interesting stuff. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we do start with Lady Justice. Now, aside from all the elemental stuff, she does tie into the Libra collective. So maybe you have Libra placements or you're connected to Libra. Usually it's fair, it's balanced, it's very analytical. It's taking stock of a situation. It's looking at the positives and negatives. So you ever like write a list and I'm going to write all the positives here and the negatives there and I'm going to compare and contrast. That's a big thing with Lady Justice. Now, as mentioned, she does deal with legalities, contracts, anything that you're putting your name and signature on. So if you're not going through any legal situations, if you do sign any document that you're putting your name on, just make sure you check and double check and triple check it. Very important for documents. Now, bigger picture, if we put all that other stuff to the side and the fairness and balance and literal justice, so hopefully you're going through a fair and balanced process. Lady Justice is karmic. She could represent the scales of the universe tilting in one way or another, where the universe might be making something right, or you might be experiencing a situation where it's like, I was meant to experience this. Remember, we had that big picture thinking. So she is the biggest karmic card to me. Now, moving to the middle, we have the King of Pentacles, and we're going to get Lady Justice tucked right back in here by the amethyst so she could chill out. And it is one of your power cards. So in my simplistic style, it could tell something that's coming towards you or a way you might be feeling. Beautiful. And remember, it's not gender specific, could just be another earth sign. But kings represent control of their respective suit. So we kind of already spoke about what earth means. Stability, security, predictability, all the earthly things. So when I see the King of Pentacles, it's like, yeah, I got this on lock. I got this planned out. I have everything under control. Normally, I like this. It's big boss energy, which is really good. It's very abundant. It could speak about wins and victories, and your cup runneth over. So I like the King of Pentacles. The only downside to the King of Pentacles is that sometimes it could be a little too stubborn. And depending on the clarifier, when this card flips in reverse, it could be a little wild, right? Like all that routine could go out the window. So we'll see. Now, moving to the back end, we have the Nine of Wands, the Wounded Warrior. This card can often show up if you've recently been through something pretty difficult. This is a time of healing. It's a time of caution. Um, In the positive sense, it's just cautious and territorial, and it's keeping an eye, like you're not going to get anything past me type of energy. It's a card of wisdom where I've experienced a lot and I'm wise to what happened. So I do like it for that. But the downside, it could be very clunky when it comes to communication, anything revolving around it. It could be blockages. It could be a very nervous, anxious type of energy where it's like, oh, I have my guard up. And worst case scenario, sometimes this could show up when you're rejecting something. So whether it's a thought process or otherwise. So I want to dive deeper on all of this. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for you. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot because, as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on Lady Justice. Let's see what she has. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Virgo, could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is Lady Justice here? Why is Lady Justice in the mix? Please. Okay, being very specific. Okay. Interesting. This to me does feel that there could be certain things or situations that might feel like they're out of your control. Okay, now when I get into the deeper aspects of my spirituality and what I believe and the fact that we're all creator beings, I do feel, aside from karmic situations, because sometimes there are certain things that we're meant to go through, I do believe, depending on our awareness, we have a lot of things that we can control, especially when we change our perspective and our awareness about things. So I don't know why I'm going deep and speaking about that, but this is just what it's making me feel. But if there is a situation where it's like, oh, nothing I can really do about that, or oh, I just kind of have to go through the process, I'm also getting this energy here of the universe balancing the scales in some kind of way. Especially with another one of your power cards in reverse underneath it. Now, remember, this is big earth sign energy. So, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Usually it's very slow and meticulous and detail oriented. So, when I see it in reverse, again, I'm saying anything legal, anything you're putting a signature on, be extra, extra careful. But I do also, aside from that situation that might appear out of your hands, I have this energy where it's like the universe is balancing the scale. So this could be karma working behind the scenes where the universe is like, don't worry, Virgo, I got this. I'll balance these scales. So it could be karma getting served up in one way or another. Now, that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes we could get karmic blessings and karmic rewards. To me, it feels like the universe is handling it. So, like, the karmic energy's there. So, I know that was a mouthful. We're just going to put this guy right here. We'll see if we continue to get those themes. Let's keep moving forward. We'll talk about him more during the recap. So, let's see why the King of Pentacles is here. All right, so the universe is taking the wheel with something. Cool. Let's see what the King of Pentacles has. Thank you. And it's your power card. Sometimes the best action is no action. And I know that could sometimes be frustrating depending on what you're going through. But we have the Hermit in the upright underneath this King of Pentacles. And you see this, this is another one of your power cards. So we have 5 cards out. 3 of the 5 can signify you and your placement. So it's like you are the center, you are the focus for one reason or another. Now, I love the stability. King of Pentacles, Hermit, that's an energy where it's like, all right, I'm just cool where it is. I would say the only thing to watch out for is frustration because these energies, they're not really doing much, or they at least appear that not much is happening. Sometimes what's happening on the surface isn't what's happening underneath. And we already have this energy here on the front where it's like the universe is taking the wheel. There's like this karmic energy getting served out. To me, it's like, it's not really much you got to do. And again, sometimes the best action is no action. Doesn't mean you're never going to take action. But remember, aside from this being one of your power cards, the Hermit is retracted, pulled back. It's very wise. It's very cautious, just like this energy we have here on the back. Knows a lot of things, but he's not really doing much, right? So if there is something that you're itching to do or wanting to do or you're tempted to do, Spirit might be telling you just hold off for now. It doesn't mean you got to hold off forever. It doesn't mean that you're never going to take action again, but there's something about divine timing here where it's like just hold on for now. Just let it unfurl. Let it do what it's going to do. Let it unfold before you. So we're going to keep moving. Well, let's see what the Nine of Wands has. So this reading is definitely going a different way than I thought it would. So let's see why the Nine of Wands is here. Usually I'm all about the action. Like, yeah, do this, pressure this and that. Like this energy is like, nope, don't do any of that. Let something mature or unfold how it needs to. Divine timing. Okay, why is the Nine of Wands here? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so we have the Nine of Cups in reverse underneath it. Yeah, this energy does feel like a little closed up, very guarded type of energy, extremely cautious. Okay, especially if you're in a time of healing, this energy is just like very quiet, very cautious. Be very cautious to not overload yourself, overwhelm yourself, or push anything too far. You know, just like we saw here in the middle, like sometimes the best action is no action, sometimes the best action is to just let things unfold. Now, I will say this, the Nine of Cups in reverse, it's like, you know, when you go to a store and they're closed. That's what this card in reverse feels like to me. Usually in the upright, it's open, it's welcoming. Hey, here, come in, have a cup. Um, it's wish fulfillment. It's happy and social. In reverse, it's like I am not open for business right now. So I'm not sure if this is with communication or just the overall vibe that I've been picking up. Remember, we started here with this karmic energy getting doled out, not really doing much. And now we have this big caution here. So I don't know why shop is closed for whatever reason, but that's the big vibe I'm picking up. Now, if this is someone else's energy, I will say this, it does feel temporary. All this stuff, especially the back end, this doesn't feel like permanent foreclosure or permanent closure. To me, it just feels like temporary pause or just not yet. Not never, but not yet. That's the big vibe. So let's go through and do a quick little recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. We have a lot of stuff happening. And remember, ever since the beginning, we've had this big picture type of energy. But if you kindly look in the box, position number one, we have Lady Justice with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Be very cautious with anything legal or anything you're putting your signature on. Make sure you read all the fine print. That's a big warning we have here. But aside from that, this energy is like the universe taking the wheel, where it's like, I'll do it. Hopefully, you're not going through a situation where you feel like there's nothing you could do, like you kind of just have to go on for the ride, but sometimes that's the case. But the main vibe I'm picking up here is the universe taking control of the situation and divine timing. We get that heavily in the front, where karma could be getting served out, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And it's kind of like this energy is waiting in line for it to happen. Moving to the center, we have the King of Pentacles with Hermit. Very good, very powerful for a Virgo reading. It's an energy that's not really making a move and it's standing firm on something. This could be spirit saying, like, hey, the best move is no move for now. Not forever, but just right now, where it's like, don't do anything, don't rush anything. That's a big theme I'm seeing in earth signs this week. Then on the back end, I have the Nine of Wands with the Nine of Cups in reverse, being very cautious. I don't want to say calculated, but to me, it's like I'm being very cautious about something. So whether that's advice from spirit or a way you're acting, like the energy to me is like the shop is closed for business, but not permanent closure. It's just we're on lunch break, right? It's giving me that kind of vibe. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a bad thing, they can be good too. So let's get you one. And if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going here. What do we got? Thank you. Queen of Wands, big fire sign energy starting to show up here. Now, a thing with the Queen of Wands, and I'm just going to say overall, to me, she is a card of confidence, of beauty. It's a very magnetic type of energy. If you're not connected to fire signs, so again, if some of you are connected to a fire sign, they could just be showing up in the shadows where there's some sort of energetic tie with what we're seeing here this week. But she is a huge card of how you treat yourself and how you see yourself. She's all about that self-confidence. So for some Virgos, this could just be about self-love, self-care, not putting too much on your own shoulders, not blaming yourself for all the wrongs in the world, right? I know Virgos are very analytical individuals. So the Queen of Wands can also represent when someone's just feeling a little bit off. They're not feeling 100%, and that's okay, right? If you're feeling a little bit down, everything ebbs and flows. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up at some point. So there is like this big focus, especially with the cards we saw within the reading itself, aside from the karmic stuff, about self-love, self-care, how you treat yourself, and not to overextend. So we're just going to leave her right there, Virgo. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the February subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, you could book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could have a little chat. My February calendar is up, so go check that out. They usually go pretty quick. But for the February subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice different style this month. We're doing a winner's choice. So the winners, which will be 3, will have their choice of the Tarot of the Owls, the Gilded Tarot Royale, or a handmade crystal pendant from my shop, mastermetaphysics.com, once again. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards we saw in this week's reading, which one caught your attention the most, whether it really inspired you or hit you right in your feelings. Anyone that stood out to you, and you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.